November of 1976 at the Las Vegas Hilton, the pre-show atmosphere for Elvis felt like a tidal wave of emotion. 20,000 fans packed every seat, swept up in an electric storm of applause, cheers, and the dazzling lights of the city that never sleeps. Elvis appeared iconic in his white jumpsuit, hair perfectly styled, radiating both power and approachability. The opening notes of Burning Love rang out, affirming his status as a living legend. Every move, every smile from him sent the crowd into a frenzy. The audience danced, screamed, forgetting all worries beyond these walls. That night seemed destined to be another of Elvis's glorious triumphs, a testament to the enduring allure of the king of rock and roll. But fate, as always, had its twists. Just as Elvis transitioned from Burning Love to Hound Dog, a piercing yell ripped through the air like a knife slicing the music and shouts in two. "Elvis, you're nothing but a fake." The shout was unlike any cheer or protest that had ever echoed through the thousands of nights before. It was laced with bitterness, raw and cutting, and it came clearly from the middle of the hall, where a hulking man stood swaying in the aisle. Bobby "Big Mike" Henderson. Big Mike, 35, a construction worker from Phoenix, had been drinking since noon. He was notorious for stirring up trouble wherever he went. He wasn't here for the music, but to prove his own bitter point that celebrities like Elvis were nothing but empty fame, all show and no substance. In that moment, all the music faded away. What remained was the stunned silence of 20,000 souls, eyes darting between Elvis and the drunken heckler. Struggling to believe what was happening, Elvis paused, his face suddenly serious. The famous smile erased. The band kept playing a moment longer, but gradually fell silent, eyes fixed on the storm at the center of the stage. The hall, just moments before roaring with joy, was now charged with suffocating tension, a feeling anyone who stood at the edge of chaos would know. In that instant, I believe everyone fans. Security. Even Elvis's closest bandmates worried, would this become a stain on an otherwise legendary night, or would Elvis find a way to hold on to the hearts of the thousands hoping for a miracle? That moment seemed to stretch on forever. 20,000 pairs of eyes locked onto the stage. Some people shouted, "Throw him out," while others sat frozen in silence, afraid of what might come next. Big Mike stood his ground, eyes bloodshot, yelling another challenge with a sneer. "You're just a pretty boy in a fancy suit. Why don't you come down here and prove you're a real man?" The room seemed to freeze. Security guards began moving toward the troublemaker, ready to handle the situation. But suddenly, Elvis held up his hand, signaling them to stop. The entire arena was stunned. Elvis stared right at Big Mike, completely unflinching. He took the microphone, his voice still carrying that southern humor and pride. "Well, hello there, friend. Looks like we have ourselves a very special music critic tonight. You must have paid a good bit to get in here." "Huh," laughter broke out. And for a moment, it seemed as if things would de-escalate. But no, Big Mike doubled down, shouting even louder, "Don't you friend me. I want to see if you're really a man, or just some kid shaking for the girls." The tension in the air was palpable. Some people jeered, growing impatient. Others sat anxiously, dreading a physical fight. But Elvis fell silent for a few seconds, gazing at the drunken man as if he could see straight through to the pain hidden underneath. Instead of choosing confrontation, Elvis set down the microphone and stepped right to the edge of the stage. His voice rang out clear, commanding, yet surprisingly gentle. "You want to know if I'm a real man? Fine. Come up here. But we're not going to fight. We're going to settle this like true gentlemen." 20,000 fans held their breath, while security stood confused, unsure what Elvis was planning. But in that instant, he had transformed a night teetering on disaster into a moment no one would ever forget. Big Mike, emboldened, stumbled his way to the front. The crowd was in an uproar, some people shouting, "Don't go up there," while others watched, curiosity and tension mixing in the air. Security hovered nearby, but Elvis firmly signaled them to let Mike on stage. As Big Mike wobbled onto the stage, the tension was electric. He faced Elvis standing there, sweating, eyes red from both alcohol and a lifetime's worth of anger and hurt. Two men. One, a world-famous legend. The other, a lonely, battered soul, now stood before 20,000 people. Elvis stayed calm, not fearful, not arrogant. He simply said, "You want to prove you're a real man, all right? I've got a suggestion for you." Big Mike growled, "Say it, I'm ready." Elvis smiled, his signature smile, both tough and forgiving. "Let's have a singing contest. Right here, right now. Winner takes all." The real man stands tall. The arena went dead silent. A singing contest. No one could believe what they were hearing. Some in the crowd burst out laughing. Others applauded the suffocating tension, instantly replaced by eager anticipation. Even Big Mike hesitated, visibly thrown off. He stammered, I can't sing." Elvis clapped him on the back. "This is my stage, my rules. If you want to prove something, stand here right now before 20,000 people and dare to try something new." Charlie, Elvis's close friend, handed a microphone to Mike. The band readied themselves, some confused, others clearly amused. Mike clutched the mic, face flushed, desperately trying to recall any song. At last, he blurted out, "My Way." The music began. Big Mike sung off-key, forgot the words, and often had to lean on Elvis for help. But instead of jeers or mockery, the crowd cheered and encouraged him to keep going. Elvis clapped along, prompting Mike like a gentle mentor. When the song ended, applause thundered through the arena, not because Mike had sung well, but because he dared to try, dared to face himself in front of 20,000 people. And the king, as the applause faded, Big Mike stood frozen in the spotlight, sweat beading on his brow, his face now stunned rather than belligerent. Elvis placed a kind hand on Mike's shoulder and smiled with genuine warmth. At that moment, 20,000 people no longer saw a troublemaker, they saw a man trembling. Having just conquered his own deepest fears, Elvis spoke firmly, but with deep compassion. "Mike, what you did tonight took real courage. You stood up to yourself in front of 20,000 people. That's not something just anyone can do. That's what being a real man is all about." Big Mike choked up, tears shimmering in his eyes. The crowd sensed a profound shift. This was no longer a disruptor, but a man being cheered on. The jeers were gone, replaced by a tidal wave of empathy and encouragement throughout the arena. Elvis didn't stop there. He turned to Mike and asked, with genuine concern, "What's hurting you so much?" "Mike, what's made you this angry?" Big Mike, trembling, clutched the microphone and finally confessed, I lost my job. My wife left me. I just wanted someone to notice me. I wanted to feel like I mattered." The air grew heavy with emotion. Elvis put his arm around Mike's shoulders, gently saying, You matter to me, and to everyone here tonight. Every one of us has moments when we feel lost or weak, but don't hurt others to ease your own pain. The entire crowd fell silent. Thousands of hearts united in deep understanding. In that moment, Elvis didn't just diffuse a confrontation, he awakened compassion and forgiveness in every soul present that night. Elvis turned back to the crowd, his voice resonating like that of a wise teacher. Tonight, we saw what true strength really is. It's not fighting. It's not making others afraid. It's admitting your pain, asking for help, and daring to change. He looked at Mike, then slowly swept his gaze across the sea of faces. I'm going to do more. Mike, if there's a contractor or business owner here tonight who needs a hard worker, talk to me after the show. We're not here to tear each other down. We're here to build each other up. The arena exploded in applause, many openly crying. That night, instead of being thrown out in shame, Mike was invited to sit beside the stage, joining Elvis for songs. Becoming part of the show, he sang along, and for the first time in years, became part of something greater than himself. By the end of the night, several business owners had come to Elvis with job offers for Mike. He left not just with a new job, but with renewed hope and restored faith in himself and in the kindness of strangers. The events of that night became legend in Las Vegas and beyond. People didn't just talk about the impromptu singing contest. They spoke of how Elvis transformed anger into compassion, turned a heckler into someone healed. Above all, Elvis taught everyone what real strength is: not domination, but forgiveness, understanding, and generosity. Nearly half a century has passed, but that night at the Las Vegas Hilton is still remembered as legend, not because of how well Elvis sang, but because he chose compassion over anger. Elvis could have had security throw Mike out, could have made fun of him, or simply ignored the situation. Instead, he chose to listen, to give a chance, and turned a dangerous moment into one of the most unforgettable acts of humanity ever witnessed by thousands. The story of the drunken heckler has become proof that behind every burst of anger is a wounded soul. And sometimes, one act of kindness is all it takes to turn a stranger into a friend, a stage into a place of healing, and anger into renewed faith in goodness. If this story touched you, please share it with someone you care about, so together we remind each other true strength is not in overpowering others, but in understanding and kindness. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, so we can continue sharing more stories that move the heart and inspire the soul.